Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Jeremy Scott Fitness Podcast and Radio Show, coming to you on this Sunday, June the 19th, 2022. Hopefully it finds you staying safe and staying sweaty all at the same time. On today's episode, we are talking about gut health and how to improve it. We're going to dig into 5 researched back strategies to help you just feel better overall. Internally, and I believe the byproduct is externally, you start to obviously look and move and feel the way that your body should and you want to. We're going to get into the weeds of this. I'm going to play off a great piece that was over at Precision Nutrition that I'll obviously share below. Alex Picot-Annand and I believe Gabrielle Fundaro, if I'm saying that correctly, wrote this, reviewed it. There's a ton of research behind it. I've talked about this before with Dr. Amy Shaw. There's some other pieces I've put together. Just talking about gut health, prebiotics, probiotics, fiber, how much you should take per day, what works for your body, fermented foods. And I'm going to go down the rabbit hole here. I'll do it as quickly as I can to try to give you guys actionable steps that you can take as soon as you're done listening to this. If you go to the grocery store or go into your cupboards, or just kind of audit and assess what you're doing in your life to feel better. Because that's the thing. At the end of the day, if you don't feel good, what the hell is anything else really worth, right? To me, all I want to do is feel good every day. And if I can do that, then it makes all the other bullshit I got to deal with a lot less of a pain in the ass. And that's what I want all of you guys to get today. And a lot of times that's coming from our gut and our microbiome, which I'll talk in depth about that, and all the things that are going on inside our body that are really controlling how we feel, how we go to the bathroom, how we think, how we sleep, and everything in between. So before I kick off to that, real fast reminder, the Jeremy Scott Fitness app is live, you guys. If you've not checked it out yet, literally it's $1 to start for the first month. It's jeremyscottfitness.app, so jeremyscottfitness.app. If you guys want to check it out, you can do the first 30 days for just a single $1. I believe after that, if you do the monthly, it's like $15. If you buy the year, it's like, I don't know, $9 a month or something like that, like 25 to 30 cents a day, give or take. And I've put so much into here. If we never added another workout again, you'd have everything you need for probably 2 lifetimes. There's full programs in there. Our super popular 10 weeks to ripped is in there. At-home dumbbell, at-home Metcon, 5-week hybrid. We have 4 other programs that are already in queue that'll be loaded inside. We're doing a huge transformation, which I will share it once I get the links and everything live. We're doing a major transformation inside the app that usually would cost a couple $100. We're kicking that off July 11th. And we're doing a huge giveaway for that. You can win an awesome prize. We'll actually fly you here, put you in an awesome resort. You get to come into our headquarters here, work out with us, stay at this dope place, or even if you don't want to come in, just stay at the resort and hang out and have fun. But that's what the grand prize winner is going to be. Every week through the transformation, we're going to give away other prizes for you guys. And again, it's just $1 to get in. So if you want to check it out, jeremyscottfitness.app. All my weekly workouts are in there. Everything I do each week, you guys can follow along with me. I obviously communicate with you guys. If you know me from Instagram or Facebook, YouTube, I always reply to comments and emails. And inside the app, it's 10x that. So if you're interested, hit me up. It works for Apple, Android, every phone in between. And we'll keep pumping stuff in there every single week to give you guys something that is not only super easy to use, super easy to follow, but affordable, and you never have to go to the gym or in the hotel or be at your home and not know what you're supposed to do. Is laid out for you step by step. So that is there. And also, you guys already know, we're brought to you by my friends at Athletic Greens. athleticgreens.com/Jeremy Scott gets you a year's supply of free vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first order. This is a supplement I take every single day. I never miss. It's 75 whole food ingredients with probiotics and digestive enzymes, and it's the antioxidant equivalent to eating like 10 to 12 servings of fruits and vegetables, which very few people are doing that. It's the best tasting greens on the planet. Like I've said before, we've all drinking much worse things, especially in college, and those things didn't help you. They honestly probably made you puke and feel like shit. This does not do that. It actually helps enrich your life, and you can get rid of 14 different pills and stop taking your crappy multivitamin and take this instead. So if you want to check it out, athleticgreens.com/Jeremy Scott gets you all the free stuff. Or if you want a free sample pack, hit me up, send us all your information. I'll have Monica get you guys a free sample pack right to your front door. You can try it, see for yourself it's the best tasting greens on the planet, and then get hooked up with all of the free stuff from there. So message me and we'll make it happen. Also, our other sponsors, Dry Farms Wine, which I'm not a wine drinker, but Heather is, and this is the most legit wine that's out there. dryfarmwines.com/JeremyScottFitness. You buy a bottle, get the next bottle for a penny. All the details are in the show notes. If you guys want to check it out, it's organic, it's vegan, it's lower sugar, lower alcohol, actually it's sugar-free, pretty badass. Lower alcohol, and it's not full of all the additives and bullshit that makes you feel like trash. Obviously, if you get shit-faced, you're gonna feel like garbage because you're dehydrated, but they are one of the rare wines, like a pure natural wine, and very, very few wines in the world, I think 0.01%, meets their strict criteria. So if you're a wine drinker, Dry Farms Wines is for you. Links in the show notes. Check it out. And again, we're brought to you by my friends at Beam CBD. So beamtlc.com. If you guys want to try the Dream product, which I take every single night to go to sleep, you can get a free sample from me. Or if you want to take any of their other salves and balms, it's all THC free. You won't get high. It's not habit forming, but it is help you get a restful sleep and aids in recovery. At least it's been my experience. But if you want to put in the code, obviously Jeremy Scott will get you guys 20% off all products, 35% off all subscriptions, or hit me up and I'll get you a free, I'll give you a couple samples of the Dream if you want it. See if it helps you sleep, and then pick up some from yourself. beamtlc.com, the code is Jeremy Scott for all of the discounts. And all other sponsors are in the show notes. My friends at JLab Pro, where we get our protein, turmeric, collagen, and krill oils. We always have discounts on the protein, the collagen, the krill oils, and the turmeric, I believe. If you want to check anything else out, hit me up. We do have a free supplement guide if you guys want that, but honestly, inside the app, we have all of this stuff that's in there. So all of our preferred partners, Kettle and Fire Bone Broth, Sleep Sold Separately, which is the pants I wear. We have discounts on literally every partnership we do. It's people I like, typically they're friends of ours, or we've met the founders or the owners, or they just really align with our goals. Typically it's all three of those, honestly. And that's in our shared partners guide, in our supplement guide, in our smoothie guides. These are the people we work with. It's all inside the app. Or if you guys want these guides, hit me up and I'll send you the individual ones for free, just so you can check it out. But Kettle and Fire Bone Broth, we always have a discount. JLab, Sleeves, obviously Beam, and then Athletic Greens. So all that's in the show notes if you guys want to check it out. And hit me up and ask any questions you have. I'm happy to help answer. I know it's a lot of information, it's a lot of stuff, and you don't got to do everything, but do the things that are going to make your life a little bit easier, a little bit better. If I can save you guys a couple bucks along the way, I'm happy to do so. So with that said, we're going to talk about gut health and 5 ways we can make you feel better. And for me, I have learned more about gut health, your GI tract, taking a shit, and just, obviously even like stool consistency, size, frequency, than I've ever wanted to learn in my life. 99% of that was just, I didn't really have a choice. I'm not going to share the whole backstory here, but I started doing this way with this much passion because I was sick for a good amount of time. Partially genetics, and then partially dumb fucking shit I was doing in college, like drinking 10 beers and then eating a frozen pizza and having some cake and thinking like that was a good day. Oh, and by the way, chewing a half a can of tobacco, and then wondering like why I feel like shit later on. And so I had to learn the hard way, like a dumbass. And again, there's no education around this, or at least I didn't have it, even in the basic nutrition courses that we would take. The world's way advanced now, so I'm a little bit older, so I'm sure if you're looking for that information, it might be there, but I had zero in elementary school, 0 middle school, 0 in high school. In college, it was primitive at best. And even that, it's just a basic outline: macronutrients, micronutrients, vitamins, minerals. Really, we weren't talking about the specifics of the gut. And I think things are going in a better direction, but I didn't know anything. I didn't know how much fiber I should be taking. I didn't know anything about probiotics and prebiotics. I didn't know, to audit your food. Long story short, I didn't feel good for a long period of time. It's a super dark place for me personally. I really felt hopeless, to be honest with you guys, for a long stretch in my early to mid 20s, and then it's been intermittent, obviously, in between there, and it was rough, dude. And I went to multiple physicians. I did numerous things, some of them, not super pleasant. And I shared the story before here many times. I ended up at the Mayo Clinic, and finally we just come to this conclusion where they're, at the Mayo Clinic, at least where I grew up in Minnesota, they have like a team, like 2 doctors come in, and then you have your nursing staff and whatever, and just walked me through kind of everything. And they're like, hey, let's take you through like an elimination diet, because we can't really figure out, what the deal is. And I think that's the hard part about nutrition, is that each one of us is individually so different. Like that's the difficult part. The beauty is something works for everybody, but the same thing doesn't work for everybody. And what works for you might not work for your mom or dad. What works for your husband might not work for you. What works for you is not what works for your friend, and vice versa. You have to really do your due diligence. And a lot of times we get so busy in life, we spend time on these, what I consider low return activities. And I'm not saying don't have escapism and watch soccer and football and binge out on Netflix, that's fine. But if you never learn anything about your own gut health, if you never learn anything about your own body and how it operates and what foods do agree with you and don't agree with you, and you're not assessing how you feel, at least on a weekly basis, I think you're doing your body a huge disservice. And again, there's not education around this. I had to basically fuck myself up and build my body back up from ground zero to get to where I'm at today. So I have this level of body awareness, and honestly, like digestive awareness, and I know what foods I can eat and can't eat, and I have changed the environment in my gut, and that's what I hope you guys get from this. And obviously, if you're a person who's got gas at a level that's not normal, like I think, what are you supposed to fart, like 14 times a day? It sounds like a lot, but if you're awake for 16 hours a day, and you have like, it's before you go to the bathroom, or maybe after you eat and you fart a couple times, that is probably about normal. Some people less, some people are farting like 40 times a day. Ladies, if you're married, probably your husband sometimes, like he uses a fart machine and you don't want to be around him, or hey, maybe it's you. And dudes, maybe it's your wife or your partner, whatever it may be. We've all been there, and that stuff happens. But that shouldn't happen every day, all day. If you're farting 30 to 40 times a day and it smells like something died in your butthole, something's wrong. We need to make a change. If you're bloated all the time, and if you're eating these foods and you're always having this adverse reaction, it's probably something wrong. If you're having toilet issues, meaning you're going to the bathroom 9 times a day, or you're only going to the bathroom once a week, I think there's an issue there. And again, we've never had a conversation about this. This is straight up honest truth. The only thing I remember hearing about this as a kid is the book Everybody Poops. It's still a bestseller to this day. I'm sure if you go on Amazon, you can check it out. But that's the only thing. I don't ever remember my mom and dad. Obviously, you got potty trained, right? Otherwise, we'd still be, shitting ourselves and peeing our pants. But I don't remember them saying, hey, Jeremy, you should get this much fiber per day. You should get these, fermented foods in your body. I don't remember that conversation happening, but I learned a lot of other things. And I'm not saying the other things I learned weren't important, but this is an anchor of how you feel. And you're gonna understand this by the time I'm done rambling today. So again, digestive symptoms, like if it's gas and bloating and indigestion and toilet troubles, if they're common in your life and they're happening all the time, they can be super disruptive. It can hinder what you want to do socially. And if you're plagued with them, you feel like a sense of like you're hopeless, because you're probably trying multiple things, or maybe you're just so busy in your life, you just kind of have accepted it and you manage your life around it. And I don't think that's a healthy thing to do. Now, when I say this, like obviously I'll share a personal story here. Like when Heather and I are first, this is disgusting, like first dating. And you guys know this, like there's this phase of your relationship where you're like being truthful and honest. I'm not saying like you're lying, but you can't be yourself yet. And I'm a young man. I meet my wife, meet Heather when I'm 25, and she's like 23. And so you're dating. I'm probably 25, 26, and I'm the young guy who wants to be big. I want to be shredded and big at the same time. I was everybody, every dude you've ever met. So I'm eating a ton of protein, like ridiculous amount, like way more than a gram per pound I weigh. And your body's not used to it. So you're having a lot of digestive discomfort. And I'm sharing this as a disclaimer. I've done everything wrong, you guys, before I did anything right. And I mean that with all sincerity. I've done everything wrong before I did anything right. So I made all the mistakes. I'm not coming at you here from a place of like I'm preaching that I'm better than you, but I fucked up enough. And thank God for me. I saw some horrible shit. I've done some stupid stuff. I've made ridiculous mistakes, but I did them early in life. I didn't have to, wait till I was 40. I did that shit from ages like 15 to 25, and here we sit. So I remember we're dating, and I'm just eating like a dumbass, just trying to get big and doing all the things that skinny guys do. And with the shakes and the weight gainers, kind of like Zach was talking about on the podcast Friday. And I remember just being over at her condo, watching a movie, messing around, doing what young kids in love are doing. And I remember just driving home. I lived, if you guys are familiar with the Phoenix, Scottsdale area, she lived by the Biltmore, and I would drive down the 51, and I'd drive back up to my place. And literally, I'm not shitting you guys, like I would hold a fart in for like 3 hours, because I'm trying to impress this girl who eventually becomes my wife, and I want to hook up with her. I'm a young dude, my testosterone's running high. I want to do my thing, but I know if I'm farting here, it's not going to work. And I remember getting in my car and just like farting for like 15 minutes straight, and most of it just air, just blowing out my ass straight. But a lot of it just smelled like something died in my body, because I have all this protein just sitting there, like an absorbent amount, and my body could not process it, at least whether it was the volume or the load at one time. It wasn't able to digest it, and I was feeling like shit. And I was almost like, I knew it was kind of happening, but either I'm too young or too stupid, or I'm just not willing to, because I'm like, well, I got to get big and I got to do this, and this is the only way to eat. And I share that story because hopefully you've all been there. And then obviously when you get married, you guys fart in front of each other, and it's disgusting. But during that time, I was so fixated on trying to do this, I was ignoring these cues going on in my body that were saying, hey man, we don't feel good. You're going to the bathroom irregularly. You're having these digestive problems. You're not feeling good. Something's wrong here. That's your body telling you something. You have to have an intuition or just enough awareness to be like, hey, listen to because they're communicating. Your gut and your brain do communicate. Most of your immune system is in the gut. I think it's like 80-some%. Somebody can fact check me on that. I go, but how do brain and gut communicate in terms of like, not only like satiety and satiation, but how much of your body's health is wrapped up in this environment? And I was ignoring it, and I don't want you guys to ignore it. So if you're going through your day and things aren't feeling right, hopefully some of these things help you. We're going to talk about stress, exercise, and the factors that affect your gut health and microbiome. We're going to talk about restoring gut health after taking antibiotics, which is also a thing. We'll talk about, if you can benefit from more fiber, if fermented foods are for you and which ones are, and then supplements that might help things like heartburn and constipation, all the other things that can kind of go on in your life. And again, I'll share this original article. Precision Nutrition just does good stuff. Shout out to John Berardi, who's been on the podcast before. Just great work. And these are evidence-based, cost-effective things you guys can do to help your gut and your overall health. So the first thing, when I say microbiome, you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Essentially think of it as like an atmosphere, or an environment, or a community of microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, and basically just like genetic material that lives in your skin, in your mouth, in your lungs, and throughout your digestive tract. And if you look at the research, whatever you find, it's anywhere between like 10 and 100 trillion microorganisms live in your GI tract alone. Now, I remember as a kid when I first, got kind of hip to politics and the government and finance and what those things meant. I remember I think it was from like Bush to like Obama, and they start talking about trillions of dollars. And I remember looking at my roommate at the time, and I'm like, what is a trillion? Like that seems fake to me. Like we're just making up shit now. Like you got $1 trillion deficit. I'm like, that is not even a number I can fathom. So needless to say, if $1 trillion sounds like a lot, your gut or your GI tract alone has 10 to 100 trillion microorganisms living inside of it at any one time, which means your body is basically like a human pile of bacteria, if you will. And obviously your microbiome is as unique as your fingerprint in all reality. The amount and proportions, how it's diversified, the bacteria and fungi will change throughout your life depending on the influences and the things you have going on. So if you think about it, like gut microbiome, this is the environment you have essentially in your body, of how we take everything in and how everything operates. And the things that can affect it are all the things that you think about. How you exercise, the diet quality, your food choices, the medications you take. It has a huge role in it, especially antibiotics, your body composition, your overall metabolic health, obviously genetics, your age, if you're suffering from chronic stress, which in America, right now it's been a shit, the last 3 years have been a shit show. I hope it gets better. I feel better than the pandemic was fucking the worst. I feel great now. It's just a weird thing. The more you know, the weirder it gets. But chronic stress does play a role in your gut microbiome. If you use alcohol, if you use tobacco, honestly, even exposure to animals and other natural environments, farms, wilderness, if you're in a place where it's super dusty, obviously all the other bacteria, parasites, viral infections, and then how you're sanitizing and your hygiene basically is also a huge part of it. And then if you're like a female and hormones in terms of if you're having a baby, if you are breastfeeding, all those things obviously also play a huge role in it. So you got to think of all the stuff in your body, all these microbiomes, or if you want to, like, I guess, how do I phrase this? All of the bacteria and fungi that makes up your microbiome. Think of them as like barnacles that like attach to your boat. Or if you've seen a whale and the whale has barnacles like attached to it. And they kind of hitch a ride along at no cost, and you're picking them up just over and over and over again. And a lot of them can be beneficial, helping your skin, helping your gums, helping your GI tract. These are friendly gut bacteria. And I'll talk about inflammation like super quick in a second. But if you think about it, if you have good, healthy bacteria, and there's a difference, right? Like good cholesterol, bad cholesterol. You know, I guess if you're a person who leverages debt and you don't do it stupidly, there could be like good debt and bad debt, although Dave Ramsey disagrees. You understand what I'm saying? Like there's good and bad. If you have good bacteria, you're going to produce nutrients like vitamin B, vitamin K, fermented fiber, and resistant starch, which creates these kind of short chain fatty acids that help regulate your immune system, your appetite, and your stress response, which is super important. And obviously, if you have a legit gut bacteria, if you can keep your system moving, pooping regularly, obviously, by bulking up your stool, increasing the gut motility, and obviously, you regulate inflammation in your immune system. Just like inflammation, chronic inflammation is bad, but if you have no inflammation in your body, I believe you would drop dead, because some of it's going to be fighting off stuff along the way. So when people say bacteria, just don't get confused and think like, well, all bacteria is just trash, and I don't want any in my body. It's just not true. Obviously, there's still a ton of research people are doing on microbiome. So some of this is maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work. That's why, again, you have to audit yourself and see what makes you feel best. But the one thing I can guarantee you guys is that gut bacteria does play a major role in your health and in your overall well-being. So if we're talking about the nuts and bolts of it, how do we support gut health? Really simple stuff. If your gut health sucks, you're going to have problems. Whether you do already, you will shortly, or down the line, it's going to happen. If you can improve the environment, that's what I keep saying that. Like I don't want to say repopulate your gut per se, but if you can have a healthy environment and improve the bacteria and the diversity inside your gut, I think you're going to have better digestion, and for a lot of you, a better immunity, and you're going to be reduced of having a risk of getting, whether it's infections and diseases and shit that's going to come your way. I don't see how having a better gut health is going to be negative to anything in your life. It's like, can you be too fit? I don't know. It's like, can you be too rich? Maybe. Can you be too attractive? Can you have too much sex? I don't think that's a thing. Some people may disagree with me, but with the gut health, I think the better bacteria, the better off you're going to be. So the first thing, and this is really simple, just slow down when you eat. Like, chew your food. Like, really taste it. And we've talked about this in the podcast before, but just break your meal down into smaller, slower, more digestible bits. The smaller pieces are going to increase the amount of surface area your digestive enzymes have to work, and this is going to aid in the chemical digestion. On the other hand, if you eat like my dog does, if you guys ever watch my Instagram stories, you'll see it. It's like I give her, super expensive grass-fed steak, and it's like she takes 1 or 2 bites and just swallows it. And I'm like, hey, Jace, did you even taste that shit? Because you just ate $3 right there. So if you're like my dog and you're not mindful of eating and you're eating super quick and you just literally swallow big chunks of food, likely lots of air with it, and that's the tipping point here, that's going to lead to indigestion and bloating for a lot of people. Plus, the enzymes are going to have to work a lot harder to break down these bigger chunks of food in your body. So if possible, give yourself a little extra time at meals. Pay attention to your food. Pause to breathe every once in a while. Put your teeth to work. That's why God gave them to you. It's why, if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, I respect your decisions. But I do think that's why I got teeth, man. I meant to eat steak, dude. That's just how I roll. But I think chewing your food slower and taking your time and thinking of your food having the texture of like applesauce before you swallow it is probably a good tipping point. I remember when David Jack was on, we talked about how many times you chew your food. It was something crazy, like 38 times. I'm not telling you got to take 38, bites of your steak before you chew it, but probably more than you're doing now if you're noticing you're swallowing these huge, massive chunks of food. Because think of it this way. You're putting these solid things into your body. And I'm not saying like your poop doesn't come out solid, but it doesn't come out like a fucking T-bone out of your ass, right? Like that food has to get broken down, some of it like liquefied and absorbed into your body for nutrients to build muscle. And obviously what you're not going to keep and store, so whether you use it or store it, your body's going to expel it. And that has to come out the other side. And that's a lot of work, dude. That's why, like, for me, and I'm not telling people to get into the fasting world, but that's a whole, we've done multiple podcasts on this and how I eat personally. If you're ever interested, you can listen. Eating every couple hours for me caused so much digestive stress, and I felt like my body was always working to get rid of the food and break it down. And maybe that's just in my head, but I felt that way. I'm like, well, if I'm eating, eggs and, chicken and banana and having oatmeal and peanut butter at 8 o'clock in the morning, if it's 11 o'clock and now I'm eating, steak and asparagus and potatoes, I'm like, there's no way all that food I just put in my mouth has been broken down, liquefied, and like pushed to an area where I need to have room for this food. That's just how I felt. Now, some people are much different, but it was just a lot. And when I started to have bigger gaps in between my meals and slow down the eating process, I appreciated the food so much more. It didn't feel like a chore. It was something I looked forward to. And I really slowed down and I was mindful of it. And I try to do that at home if Heather and I eat together, especially when you go with friends now, even at dinner if I'm starving. We're having conversations. So I'm eating, chewing, I'll put it down, I'll talk to them, I'll come back to it. And it takes me way longer to eat dinner and food when I'm with friends and family than it even does myself. But I've been a lot better over the years, not just woofing it down like crazy and just actually chewing and tasting everything. Hopefully that helps you guys as well. The second thing, you got to include many different types of minimally processed plant-based foods. Fruits, vegetables, like legit whole grains, which I'll dig into, if it's the starchy tubers, if it's beans, and other minimally processed plant-based foods. Those things are going to help your gut. Number one, they feed the gut bacteria. When bacteria chows down on fiber, it multiplies and contributes to those short chain fatty acids that we talked about. It aids in that production, as well as a more diverse bacterial environment. And the second thing they do, they provide the bacteria helpful photochemicals, if I'm saying that right, like kind of like polyphenols, if you will, that can be transformed into antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds. So if you eat highly processed foods, you know, the cookies, the chips, the shitty, pizza all the time, or just the crappy stuff that you know is not real. And I'm not saying like, goldfish aren't real, but is there like a goldfish stream they caught them in? No, that shit's fake. Like, there's not a fucking Oreo tree. You guys get where I'm going here. So if you're always eating the highly processed stuff, the diversity and the activity of your microbiome is going to be reduced. And now there is a study here that they listed, and I can share it, and when I share the link here, it's a rat study, and it's shown to skew the overall environment toward bacteria that may increase inflammation and disease risk, hunger and appetite, and vulnerability to the effects of stress like mood and hormone imbalances. If you're eating, again, foods that are highly processed, if you listen to any of our stuff, you watch any things we put out, I'm always talking just real food is the base, you guys. Now, I'm not saying you can't go out and have French fries and eat cookies and, have a Diet Coke and eat some Cheetos. Like, you can do all that shit. You just can't do it all the time. The base of what you do has to be real food. If you want to eat an Oreo cookie every day, awesome, dude. I'm just saying you can't eat 44 Oreo cookies all day, every day, and think you're going to have this amazing gut health. And on top of that, obviously, how you look and move and feel will be different. So, again, I'm not saying cut out all processed foods. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not one of these fear-mongering people that says you can't ever drink a Diet Coke or have a beer or a whiskey or eat some Doritos. Like, if you feel good doing that and it's calling your name, then sometimes you just got to do it, bro. Like, it's just part of the game. However, in the context of like a healthy, well-balanced diet, indulging way too much is not going to be good for you. But having some of those things in your life, I think, is okay. It's always a volume game. Like if you go to the all or nothing stuff, I'm not a fan of. If you look at politics, the extreme right stuff, the extreme left stuff, most of the people on extremes on both ends are fucking crazy. Sorry, anybody, I'm not trying to offend you. And I'm an idiot, I don't know anything about politics, but the extremes of anything, I've never been a fan of. If you're an extreme Vikings fan, that's super cool. You can't be like, Aaron Rodgers sucks. Well, he doesn't suck. He's fucking awesome. He just happens to play for, the worst team in the NFL. But like, I still respect the greatness of it, even if I'm a fan. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I'm a fitness guy. I'm never gonna drink diet soda. I'm never gonna drink booze. I'm never gonna have a pizza. I'm never going to have French fries or eat cookies. That's ridiculous. There's a balance there for all of us. Now, mine might skew way more towards real food and not drinking as much alcohol and not eating as much processed stuff as, say, the average person. But there's a balance there for me. I think the all or nothing mentality is probably the fastest way to set yourself up for failure. Now, alcohol is a different thing. If you have an issue with it or something that's a clinical diagnosis, that's not for me to decide. But for all intents and purposes, if I'm generalizing here, having a balance is good, but that balance, in my opinion, should always be skewed towards mostly real food. If it runs, it swims, it flies, it grows from the earth, you're drinking water as the base of the fluids you take in per day, I think you'll be okay. And if in between, you intermix the processed stuff that you like as a kid or just those comfort foods, that's fine too. Whether your split is 95, 5%, 90%, 10%, 80% good, 20% shit, that's on you to decide. As long as the base is skewed towards real food, you guys are doing okay. Again, if we talk about fermented foods, are they good for your gut? Things like kombucha, sauerkraut, kimchi, yogurt, all the things that are fermented. I'm gonna break down here the research they have. Full disclaimer, I'm a fan of fermented foods. And this is my anecdotal me. It's my experience that I feel better when I throw them in my life. So when I'm eating a lot of live, probiotics, prebiotics, I feel my gut is better. I feel my digestive system is better. I go to the bathroom better. I have better energy. I'm less susceptible to get sick. It works for me. Now, I'll go through the research here. You make the call for yourself. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm going to share this on my Instagram. And I'm going to share all the foods, not all the foods, a good number of the foods that I incorporate into my life either daily or weekly in terms of gut health. And I'll go down the list here in a little bit, but you can find a picture of them on my Instagram if you just swipe through. And these are the brands I work with and the people that we trust. And if you have questions after you look at it, just let me know. Inside the Jeremy Scott Fitness app, in the nutrition tab, you guys can click it, scroll down. I have a super detailed video on gut health, and I break down every single product that we take, every single food we use, and why I use them and how they make me feel. So if you really want to check it out, it's inside there, but I'll give you as much free shit as I can on Instagram to help you guys with that. So about a decade ago, the food and beverage products with the live bacterial cultures claimed to improve digestion, and that obviously exploded into the market. And of course, a lot of these foods have existed for centuries, and they've been staples in a lot of cultures. As many of the Eastern European people will tell you, it's old news. But do they work? And so I personally think the ones I take work. Per the research here, the fermented dairy products, specifically kefirs, are supported by high quality evidence. If you guys know when I say kefir, K-E-F-I-R, excuse me, you guys have probably seen it at Whole Foods or Sprouts or your natural grocers or whatever your health food store is, they probably have it there. That one is shown to be supported to actually help you. The benefits seem, to apply more to cardiometabolic health than just digestive health, but there is research that does show that. Obviously, if you can't do dairy products, there are alternatives, which we'll talk about in a second, but there has to be more research to kind of show if the ferments themselves really do help you, or it's just that you're not eating minimally processed shit. Either way, a lot of these foods they taste great, they're healthy for you, they're not going to hurt you, and if nothing else, they take the place of other shitty foods. Now, there's a lot of people who are like fermented is going to help your digestion and improve elimination and be much better for you. It's more nutrient dense. Again, depending on what research you look at, some say the kefir is going to guarantee to do that. Some say these things are somewhere in between. I'm telling you personally, from me, it helps me feel better personally. I feel that. Even if it's placebo, boom, it worked. 2, I'm not eating other bullshit. And that's the key. At the end of the day, for me, if I feel better and it's working for me, I'm going to keep doing it. That's all I'm going to say. The things I take in terms of fermented foods. 1, there's this Kollia. GT's makes this coconut yogurt. The vanilla flavor I love personally, myself the best. They have a ton of flavors. There is literally billions of probiotics in there at the time that they bottle that bad boy up. I do like that. If you like legit, yogurt, if it's almond or oat or traditional dairy yogurt, that's cool too, as long as it's one of the real brands. I do like the GTs. I think they're the best out there. They make the best kombucha, in my opinion. Heather likes a bunch of brands. I think it's the Hum, H-U-M-M, is the brand that she likes. I like the GT's kombucha, the Synergy. You guys have probably seen them before. I like the ones with the chia seeds in them. The grape is my favorite. They make a ton of flavors. The Kavitas are great too. Legit pickles, not the cheap bullshit ones, but like Grillo's, if you guys know what I'm talking about. I didn't know Costco carried them. Apparently they do. But Grillo's pickles are my favorite. There's Wild Brine, makes a kraut. They also make a kimchi. Those are both fermented foods that are great. And it's not just like the normal like kraut you put on a hot dog. I mean, I guess you could. But they make a million different flavors, a million different styles. Those are all great too. In terms of fermented foods, those are probably the biggest ones we do. Bragg's, obviously apple cider vinegar. They make a prebiotic drink. The apple cinnamon one is great. The grape one is great. That's a prebiotic drink. You just shake it. You can pound it. Those are all available at most like grocery stores, or at least in the health food sections. Athletic greens, obviously, I take every single day. There's a probiotic in there. There's digestive enzymes in there. There's all the micronutrients in there as well. I do believe that does help the overall gut environment. If you want a free sample, hit me up. And then I'll get into the weeds here of fiber in a second, but I do take chia seeds every single day. The omegas are great. The amount of fiber in just like 2 tablespoons is going to be amazing. If you're not taking them, you can literally dump in your mouth, swig water, and you got 10 grams of fiber right there. They're gelatinous in the gut. They're great to add to your day. Flaxseed is another great one. And then obviously like psyllium husk, if you guys are familiar too. It's like a bulking agent, and obviously there's fiber in there, and it kind of helps keep things moving. Those are all great ones. So the coconut yogurt from GT's, Grillo's pickles, wild brine kraut and kimchi, GT's kombucha or the synergies as well, chia seeds, Bragg's apple cider vinegar, athletic greens, flaxseed, psyllium husk, boom, you guys are in business. So, which leads me to number 3, adding like a fiber supplement. Now, not every person's gonna benefit from more fiber. It really just depends. And again, this is where, at the end of the day, I'm always gonna say this, you gotta audit what works for you and what's best for your life. For a lot of people, I generalize, I think fiber is gonna help you. And I'll share the story. I was talking to a doctor on Friday actually, and I'll keep this anonymous. You know who you are if you're listening. And I'm going over this doctor's food log, and I'm looking at it, and I'm just like, dude, is this really what you're eating every day? And they're like, yeah, this is what I eat every day. And I'm like, there's no additional fiber you're eating at all? And they're like, no. And I'm like, do you ever go to the bathroom? And they're like, yeah, like once a week. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm just a knucklehead in a warehouse that teaches bear crawls for a living. But I don't think taking a shit once a week is probably the healthiest, most pleasant way to go through life. And if you're eating 5 grams of fiber per day and you're only pooping once a week, I think you could benefit from eating some of these things I'm gonna mention here. Just throwing that out there. Again, I'm not a doctor, this is not medical advice, but if you're taking a poop once a week, some of your days gotta be real backed up, uncomfortable, if I had to guess. So, for most people, if you consume a diet rich in minimally processed foods, your diet is probably already rich in fiber if you have a diversified enough food platform. If not, you probably got to add some things. But if you're already eating a ton of fiber, like let's say, I think I'm gonna pull the numbers up here. If you are a woman, this changes with age too, so I'm just gonna throw this out there. Women should eat, on average, this is per the Mayo Clinic, if you guys trust those guys, 21 to 20 grams of fiber per day, while men should aim for 30 to 38 grams of fiber per day. Now that's a lot for a lot of you guys listening. I just know there's a lot of dudes I work with who are not eating anywhere near 30 grams of fiber, and a lot of females that aren't eating 20 grams of fiber on the low ends. Now, Jeremy, like, well, what foods are high in fiber, Jeremy? Artichoke hearts, pears, berries, lentils, split peas, chickpeas, barley, whole grains. Again, like I said, chia seeds, flaxseed, all those things are awesome to throw into your life. But a lot of people aren't meeting the minimum. So if you're somebody who's already eating a legit amount of foods with fiber in it and you're going to the bathroom on a regular schedule, you're probably okay. If you're somebody who is eating no fiber or like minimal and you go to add 20 grams tomorrow, you're probably gonna have some legit gas and bloating and possibly even like some loose stool, because it's just like you're introducing something so fast, so quick. So what I would say is gradually adding in the fiber. So if you're somebody who doesn't eat any and you're having some issues, maybe like just a tablespoon or 2 of chia seeds to start, maybe adding in some more veggies or high fibrous fruits. Just slowly get your way there. Again, the number to aim for a lot of, again, everybody's different. You got to gauge how you feel. Per the Mayo Clinic, women about 21 to 25 grams of fiber per day, men about 30 to 38 grams of fiber per day is kind of where they sit. Again, all the things you guys think, eat plants and vegetables and like legit whole grains. I listed off just a bunch of basics, but Brussels sprouts are great. Baked potatoes are great, like with the skin on, quinoa, oat bran muffins, legit oatmeal, brown rice, and again, all the things, black beans, almonds, pistachios, all great options for you to throw into your life. So if somebody who struggles, consider, supplementing with a mix of soluble and insoluble fiber. And again, experiment with the foods, like the fruits and vegetables, and see overall what's best for you and your body. But the key is to eat mostly minimal processed foods. But if you're somebody who does that and you avoid carbohydrates, sometimes you have an issue. If you're only I've tried the carnivore diet. I did a podcast on it. I think it's one of the most popular ones we did. I was fine. It just wasn't for me. It's very limiting for lifestyle, and I didn't feel I had the most energy doing it. I didn't feel bad. During the 2 weeks I ran through it, I did one half cup of oatmeal with some chia seeds, and I did a synergy with chia seeds the other week, just because digestive wise, man, it was not the worst thing, but it definitely was not my normal routine. So if you're somebody who eats legit real food, but mostly animal proteins and healthy fats, and your gut function works well, I don't think you got to make any changes. However, if you're somebody who is on like a low carb diet and your poop is infrequent, it's like small, it's hard to pass, you could consider adding like more fiber into your life, whether it be through beans or lentils or oats or sweet potatoes. If you're willing to alter your macro split a little bit. If not, you could add things like, again, chia seeds and the psyllium husk powder. I think that's a great way to do it. So even if you're a person who is listening to this, and maybe you're in this category, you eat a full range of I can't say minimally for some reason, minimally processed foods, but you still struggle with constipation. If I was you, I would say adding in psyllium, a soluble fiber, might help with the constipation, but it can at first make some problems worse, like gas and bloating and diarrhea. So before adding it, like anything, talk to your healthcare provider and professional, as long as they know what they're doing, to rule out food allergies and intolerances and things that could cause you digestive stress. Side note, the same physician I talked to the other day was sharing that they had not went to a physician to do blood work or a physical in 8 years, which I don't want to get in a soapbox here. I don't have time. I'm going to go hang out with my wife in the pool. But that's fucking nuts to me, man. I'm not saying you have to go get a physical every 6 months. Whatever you want to do, you want to do. You're all grown adults. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But dude, you should get your blood work done, I would say at least once a year. And go just see a physician that you think gives a shit about you at least once a year. Side note, get your eyes checked once a year. Go to the dentist at least twice a year. That's 4 appointments. Like, this is common sense. I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad, but a lot of people, and this is what I found out, I've worked with a lot of doctors and a lot of nurses and a lot of people in healthcare, and sometimes you guys are the worst. You spend your whole life learning and taking care of everybody else. You don't take care of yourself. You got to put your mask on first, dude. Like, you really do. Because if you don't feel good and you're not healthy, you can't make other people feel good and make them healthy. So take time for yourself, dude. Just really do it. Again, I'm not trying to make you feel bad, but you got to give a fuck about yourself enough, because you're not helping people to the best of your ability. Because at some point, it's going to catch up to you. And then someone's going to have to take care of you. And if by doing that, you can catch things before they become a problem, or you just feel better because you're doing it and you have an idea of what's going on in your body, I would suggest that. So if you're listening to me, my simple health tips: get a physical once a year, get your blood work done, go to the dentist twice a year, get your eyes checked. If you watch TV on volume 90 of 100, maybe check your ears too. Like, really simple shit, dude. Just like you check your bank account, just like you talk to a financial advisor and they help you do your taxes, or you have a CPA, you take your car into a mechanic. Like, you wouldn't be like, well, I've been driving around my car for 8 years and hoping for the best. Like, the thing will fucking blow up on you. Your body's resilient, man, until it's not. So just, that's a side note together. So really fast here, crash course on soluble versus insoluble fiber. If you want to change your fiber intake, maybe because you think it's going to help your digestive issues, it's really helpful to know the difference between the two types of fiber. And most people don't. Again, we don't talk about this a lot. Number one, soluble fiber, S-O-L-U-B-L-E, soluble, absorbs water. It creates a gel that softens stool, and soluble fiber also feeds beneficial gut bacteria. Foods like whole grains, beans, legumes, psyllium are rich in soluble fiber. These fibers absorb water. So follow with me here. Soluble absorbs the water. Insoluble fiber, I-N-S-O-L-U-B-L-E, does not. It doesn't dissolve in water. It adds bulk or weight to your stool. So you know why you don't just, when you have like liquid diarrhea, there's no bulk in that stool. Like when your stool is, put together like a really, how do I describe this? Like a soft, thinner banana coming out of your butt, hopefully. There's bulk to that. There's weight to it, making it easier for you to pass, and often faster in the process. It helps improve the regularity in your bathroom. Insoluble fiber reduces the risk of GI symptoms and bowel diseases. Many of the non-starchy vegetables like wheat bran are good sources of insoluble fiber. Now, again, I'll come back to this. If you're currently eating a really low fiber diet and you start incorporating more fiber through foods and supplements, there is an adjustment period. For a couple weeks, you might notice you have maybe some gargling in your gut, maybe some more gas, maybe some more bloating. There might be a change in your bowel activity. If it becomes super uncomfortable, scale back and then reintroduce things moderately when you're ready. Eventually, most people's body are going to adjust to their appetite, digestion, and overall health, and you're going to benefit from it, from having this kind of regular fiber intake. So the side note is, if you got a Tinder date or a Bumble date on Friday night, and you're eating 5 grams of fiber a day, maybe on Friday don't eat 30 grams of fiber before you go out, because you might not be going on a second date, is what I'm saying. Or if you have a sexy night plan with your wife, do these for your husband or your partner. Do these things gradually to avoid the backlash. And so if you're at, what I would say is adding 5 to 10 grams extra per day to get to where you need to be is probably a good place to start for a lot of you. Number 4, if you're somebody who's taken antibiotics, you got to add some good bacteria back in. Again, I'm a fan of antibiotics. I know some people, go back and forth on this. I've had sinus infections throughout my life, and they suck, dude. And I rarely do I get sick, but when I do, it usually hits me like a ton of bricks, and that tends to be the thing. I don't, knock on wood, get the other shit a lot. I mean, I've had food poisoning maybe twice in my life, which is super miserable, but it tends to be that kind of upper bacterial infection, behind the eyes, the ears, where the green stuff is kind of there, and you're just, hocking up yellow shit and just like really congested. So they can be life-saving. They've done wonders for me. And at some point, I think all of us are going to have to be on them. However, antibiotics are associated with less microbial diversity in your gut. So it can also increase the bad bacteria, if you will. So in healthy people, and that's the key here, gut bacteria levels recover pretty well, but not perfectly after taking antibiotics. In one study, people recovered close to pre-antibiotic baselines within 6 weeks, but we're still missing several strands of bacteria that have been present before the antibiotics 6 months earlier. In some cases, probiotics supplementing can help, especially in cases where you're associated with things like diarrhea. Now, just bear in mind that everyone responds to specific probiotics in the same way. Again, I'll come back to this. You got to audit and do what's best for you. Individual response depends on the bacteria you already have in your gut, plus whether the supplements take up residence in your GI tract or they just pass through. And that's why I'm a fan of diversifying everything. Now, Dr. Amy Shaw was on. She was talking about gut health in the podcast. You can go back and listen to it. She doesn't supplement with the probiotics. She just eats them all. Now, again, I'm just a gorilla talking to you guys from the gym I built. I'm a fan of doing it all, and that's me. So when I do antibiotics, I typically take, like, there's a Garden of Life. It's a 5-day like critical care probiotic. I think it's like 35 strands and 200 billion is the culture count. I'll take that for the 5 days after to reintroduce a lot of strands of bacteria into my gut. Then I'll also, probably eat, more coconut yogurt. I'll do a synergy every day. I'll throw in the fermented foods as well. And obviously I'm taking athletic greens too. But I'll do add that critical care, and I might switch up one of the kombuchas just to kind of mix and match. So I do think that can help. So if you're somebody who is taking antibiotics, or you recently had to, or you just got off them, I think introducing multiple strands of probiotics through both food and supplement can be a good way to introduce that awesome bacteria back into your gut, to repopulate it essentially, and create an environment where your body's gonna be running on all cylinders. So keep that in mind. The last one, and this is real simple, movement's medicine. It just is. You want better gut health? You gotta get off your ass and move. It's just, I can't say this enough, not just, physically, but mentally, man. Just, train through it. And obviously I'm not saying like if you got a broken leg, like train through it. You can still do stuff for your upper body, obviously. But for me, even when I have days where my brain is just, if it's overwhelmed or stressed, or I got just shit going on, whether it's, friends, family, business, the economy, people, you name it, and some days it all just kind of hits at once, right? And the last thing I want to do is move around. I just want to turn my brain off and just lay down and watch TV and try to forget about it. I always feel worse if that's what I do. Now, I probably done that for 7 or 8 years. At this point, I figured out I always feel better if I just train. I just move around. Mentally, it's this release that I feel, and even if the workout sucked, if I stuck to it and did the entire workout as prescribed, I just felt better afterwards. Physically, I felt better. I had more confidence. I had more energy. I had more power. I just felt alive. For me, I need to move every day because I feel I digest food much better. I feel my regularity is much better. My digestive tract tends to be in a better place if I move. If I don't move as much and get as much activity in as I wanted to, I don't feel as good. I think most of you are the same. Physical activity, cardiovascular fitness are associated with more microbiome diversity and more short-chain fatty acids. And again, those short-chain fatty acids do a lot of good things for your body. Better immunity, and honestly just better tolerance to stress in general. So when you engage in mild to moderate exercise, you stimulate that kind of parasympathetic rest and digest nervous system. Not only does this have an overall relaxing effect on the body and the mind, but it also encourages movement in the digestive tract, aiding in both digestion and elimination. So in case you're curious, pooping, well-formed, easy to pass stool anywhere from 3 times a day to every day is a sign of good elimination. Pretty crazy, right? I just think, I'm not saying you got to come in here and do a Sunday Metcon every day. That would be dumb. However, mild to moderate exercise, getting your steps in, jogging for a minute, walking for a minute for 20 minutes, doing mobility, doing 10 minutes on a bike trainer, doing 100 bodyweight squats and 100 push-ups, doing a weight circuit, doing a HIIT class, doing fucking yoga, whatever your thing is. That mild to moderate exercise. And again, when I say HIIT class, people are like, that's high intensity. You know how most people go through HIIT. They bullshit most of it anyway. My point is that if you can do some form of activity, that's going to stimulate the nervous system to help with digestion and elimination. So not only how we break down food, but also how it comes out of our butt. And I don't want this to get lost here. Obviously, I shared my story of talking to a doctor literally 3 days ago. pooping once a week. And everybody, again, I know everybody's different, but I know that's not right. I'm not a doctor, I'm an idiot, and I know that's not normal. Per this study and this research here that I have in front of me, easy to pass stool that's well formed comes out of your body anywhere from 3 times a day to every day or every other day is a sign of good elimination. Me personally, I poop every day. I just have to. Like if I'm not pooping in a day, something is wrong with me. Maybe you're a 3 times a day person. Maybe you're a twice a day. Maybe you're a once a day. Maybe you poop Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. I don't know. And you skip a day. I guess that can be considered healthy too, depending on obviously how much you eat and what's going on. But pooping once a week or twice a week is not a good look. So again, for most people, and again, you know how you feel. You know if it's right, you know if it's wrong, or at least you should have an idea now. So your poop should come out, not like rabbit pellets, and shouldn't come out like a fucking chunk of wood. It should come out like a soft, like consistency of like a toothpaste, kind of all together. Most times, whether it's in like, I don't want to get gross here, but I'm like this. We all pooped it, so grow up. Like whether it's like one strip or like multiple logs that are just soft, and you didn't have to kill yourself to get it out. 3 times a day, 2 times a day, once a day, or every other day is probably a sign of good elimination and things are working the right way. So again, if we dig into some real stuff before I let you go, if we're talking supplements that can help you guys with indigestion, with gas, with pooping, these are the things that I could throw in there. Now, obviously, uncomfortable digestive symptoms sometimes still happen to people who do everything right. That's just kind of life. And there'll be days where things go wrong. It's just part of it. Like I don't feel perfect every single day. Some days I feel like shit. Some days I can pinpoint it exactly why. Some days I don't know. So if you're somebody who has mild indigestion or gas or pooping problems, and you can't find any of the culprits or solutions with what I went through already, supplements might be like an extra kick to help get your digestion and elimination back on track. Real quick here, these are just the basics. And again, talk to your doc. Go to your physician. And if your physician doesn't know anything because they're an idiot, I don't mean that negatively, but sometimes a general practitioner just has no training in this and no education, and they eat like shit and they don't even fucking poop right. So if that's the case, get a new one or have them refer you to a legit GI specialist that knows what they're doing. I was lucky enough to find one of the best ones, not only like obviously going to the Mayo Clinic, but even here in Scottsdale, Phoenix, someone who I think is great. The dude is a gamer. He's on his stuff. If you need his info from me and you live here, I'm happy to share it with you. Just super helpful. And I think everybody should find that. But if you're looking for some of the supplements that can help, one, specific digestive enzymes that can help with symptoms, obviously, of eating certain types of foods. Whether it's like you struggle with beans or legumes or lactose for dairy, for example, there is certain digestive enzymes you guys can take. Peppermint oil has been shown to reduce pain and gas and bloating, and actually makes it can actually make acid reflux worse if that's a symptom you are already experiencing. But there is digestive enzymes, and for some people, peppermint oil can help with excessive gas and bloating. If you have heartburn, things like ginger, tea, or even the capsules, because ginger also can help with the nausea, but they also do say it helps with heartburn. Ginger, I forget too, my wife loves ginger. Ginger is actually great for you guys to throw into your life. If you go to a sushi place, they give you like a bunch of ginger. Heather would be like, can I just get another plate of ginger, and just crushes the whole thing. I have become a fan of it for sure, but that can help with heartburn, and they do also say nausea. That's great for the gut. If it's constipation, magnesium citrate is a safe for long-term use. Unlike most laxatives, which are kind of habit-forming and aren't good, they're not a good solution for chronic constipation. So always having to take these supplements for constipation, I don't think that's a healthy way to live life. I don't think that's great for long-term use. In the short term, you gotta poop. But if it's magnesium citrate, I think you guys are gonna be golden. And then if you have diarrhea, electrolytes and fluids. Again, usually a sign of acute infection is diarrhea, and that's obviously, your body's way of kind of cleaning out the unwanted pathogens. For that reason, it's best to kind of let that run its course. To reduce dehydration associated with diarrhea, you have to hydrate with water, sports drinks, and if it's a Powerade Zero, Gatorade Zero, and just drinking a ton of water and fluids is obviously going to be the key. And it's not fun, but sometimes that's what the sign is. If you just have this, I'm not saying chronic diarrhea. If you have diarrhea for 3 months in a row, there's a fucking problem. Honestly, if you had diarrhea for more than a week, there's a problem there. I think a doctor will probably even tell you less. But if you're having diarrhea for 5, 6, 7 days in a row, there's an issue there. You got to go in and probably see somebody. If it's like, for a day or two, it's probably just your body getting rid of everything. So drinking the most fluids you can, I think is going to be key. And again, if you have any of the symptoms I'm listing off here, if it's gas, if it's bloating, if it's diarrhea, if it's constipation, and you just don't feel good, and you have heartburn, you have nausea, contact your doctor. Again, I can't say that enough. Like if this person is really a gamer and they're going to give you legit medical advice, whether it's your general practitioner or somebody on the GI end, or like a colon rectal guy, any of these people, they can help you. This is what they do. You don't have to be embarrassed about it. This is their job. They chose a profession to talk about how you take a shit and putting cameras up your butt and down your throat and looking at it. Go to them for help. Sitting at home and like being embarrassed about it or not talking about it is the worst fucking thing you can do, because then you're just suffering in misery, and it's not worth it. But for most of you guys, the basics here can really help. And what I would say is, if you're somebody who these things don't work, go see a physician. I mean that enough. A lot of times you can change your microbiome, and that can happen with as little as like 24 hours or 48 hours, or for surely, obviously, in a couple of weeks. But if you're really having an issue and you can't pinpoint it, and you're doing the things that we listed here, I can't say it enough. Go and see somebody. And I'm speaking to you from experience. I was once a young, stubborn young man. I thought I could figure it out myself. I thought if I ignored here's what I've done, and I'm sharing this with all transparency to help you guys. In my life, I've ignored certain problems and I've buried them, and that's worked really great up until this point. I'm a middle-aged man, and they have not resurfaced yet, and I feel fucking awesome, and my life is amazing. Now, who knows? Something might happen in 10 years, and all that shit I buried might come back up and have a complete meltdown. We'll see. I don't think that's the case. However, there are certain things I tried to ignore and bury in terms of like how I was going to the bathroom, how I was digesting food, how I was feeling, like trying to ignore like major issues in my life and thinking they'd go away because I was too embarrassed to ask anybody. I didn't know enough to talk to people. I didn't know where to research. I wasn't this person today. And I'm talking me when I'm, shitting out blood in the toilet. I'm fucking 24 years old, 20. I'm like, what is going on here? And I'm not digesting food well, and I'm not feeling good, and I'm having all these issues. If you're in a boat like that where something's going wrong and you don't feel good, go get the help you need from a professional and seek multiple opinions if you need to. That's what I did, and it honestly probably saved my life, because if I was on that path forever and I didn't do it, I wouldn't be this person today. I probably would have fucking killed myself. I'm being completely honest with you guys. Like, when you don't feel good and you feel like you're trapped and you feel hopeless in your body, it's one of the worst feelings that there can be. And I've learned a lot along the way. And I've shared the story before, and I'll share it with you because it fits in with this episode. When I went to the Mayo Clinic finally, and I remember my dad driving me there, because I've done all the stuff, right? I've done the colonoscopies, I've done the liquid enemas in the doctor's offices before too. Which, if you guys know, that's where they basically take a liquid and they put it in your butt and they squirt it in there, and you got to hold it in your rectum for, I don't know, like I think it was like 90 seconds, maybe it was more. And they put like a dinner timer on, and they have you do it. I did that multiple times. I remember being at the Mayo Clinic doing that multiple times there, because I lived too far away. If I did it at home, I might have shit my pants a bunch of times on the way there. So you do that, they do it to clean you out. I remember I did that, then I take the elevator up to this to meet the doctors to go in. And I remember even in the waiting room, going into the bathroom, just like shitting out liquid, just clearing everything out of the back end there. And it wasn't fun. Like, nobody wants to go in as a 25-year-old man and have this nurse, here's these enemas, dude, and this is what you're gonna do, and walk you through it. Like, it's embarrassing. I get it, right? At this point in my life, I was so I got to the point where I felt so hopeless and lost, I didn't give a fuck anymore. And I could have done all of this like a year earlier. And I suffered through a whole year of my life from like 24 to 25-ish. It didn't have to happen. And I'm sharing that to share to you guys. And I remember being in we go into the obviously room, like what do you want to call office. And it's 2 nurses, 2 doctors. They blow my stomach up with air through your through my butthole basically, and then put a camera up in there, and they kind of look around for stuff to see what's going on. There's a big TV screen of this camera up inside up in my ass, basically looking at stuff. And because your stomach is blown up with air, once they're done, they do their thing. And they're like, if you want to excuse yourself to let the gas out, you're fine. And at that point, I'm just like, fuck it, dude. You just had a camera up my butt. All you guys are up in here. My ass is out. And I'm just like farting away in this room, talking to these doctors and nurses, trying to figure out what the problem was. And you think like that, I was embarrassed for a year to even show up. And then I got to the point where I'm just like, no fucks given, dude. I just need somebody to help me. And I think that's, if you take that example and you apply it to fitness and nutrition and a lot of people in life, that's what it mirrors. Sometimes it takes people to get to that fuck it point where they feel just so desperate and so hopeless, then they'll make a change. Then they'll do it. What I'm saying to you is don't get to that point. Don't do it with your finances, don't do it with your relationship, don't do it with your fitness, don't do it with your nutrition, and don't do it with how you go to the bathroom and how you move and how you feel. Because it doesn't have to be that way. There is resources out there, there's people to help you, there's things that can get you on the right track. And just have a level of body awareness and be mindful of how you're feeling and try to stay on top of it. And most days you should feel good. You're not gonna feel perfect every day. Every day you're not gonna have a ghost poop. And that's, you know what I'm talking about, like when you ghost poop, when you poop and then you wipe your butt and there's nothing there. That perfect shit, that's not gonna happen every day. But most days you should go to the bathroom about the same time, about the same frequency, about the same consistency, and you should feel good most days. And if that's not happening, there's ways you can fix it. Because not only do you want to eat real food that's good for your body, you want your body to actually, use the nutrients, digest the food, take the protein to build muscles, use the fat, and use the carbohydrates for energy, and get rid of the shit you don't need. You don't want to have, you have 25 feet of intestines, and you got a colon. And I think your colon can have like 20 pounds of shit in it at one time. Somebody can fact check me. And you have 25 feet of tubing that's in here that can just collect shit along the way. I don't think you want that just in there, marinating or rotting, if you will, for long periods of time. So I share these things with all transparency, you guys, just because, again, I've made all the mistakes I don't want you to make. And I know how miserable life is when you don't feel good. There's very few things that depress me or drag me down or change my mood. But the biggest one is how I feel. If I feel sick, if I feel weak, if I feel vulnerable, if I feel run down, that physical feeling mentally fucking ruins me. It really does. I thank God every day, and whatever your belief system is, I don't give a shit. Thank whoever it is that you have this opportunity in this body to be, where it is today and have access to all this information. And I always go back, if this was 100 years ago, I'd be dead by now. If I was born 100 years ago, if I was born in 1883, we're watching it right now, it's fucking crazy. If I was born then, I like to think yeah, I'm tough, I can gut through shit. I can, but I'd be dead. Just physical ailments alone would have killed me because I wouldn't have known enough. I wouldn't have had the research, I wouldn't have the resources, I wouldn't have been able to see it through. It would have crippled me. And you don't have to live through that now. And so don't do some of the things that I did. Take my advice and take these tips, and hopefully they help you. And then obviously, if you need something beyond this, go and see somebody. But take care of yourself. That's what this whole episode comes down to. Obviously, gut health is important and it's key. But at the end of the day, I'm a health person. It's really what I am. It's just called it Jeremy Scott Health. Well, actually, I should have called it something else. So my name's not on the building. But that's what we do here. We try to make people get healthier and live a better overall life. And I think you guys have the opportunity to do that. So take advantage of it. If you want to see any of the specific foods, they'll be on my Instagram story. Today is June the 19th, 2022. You can go back on Instagram I'll talk about it. I'll share some screenshots. I'll share all the individual foods, and you guys can check it out. And again, if you are on the Jeremy Scott Fitness app, if you guys go to the nutrition tab, there's a huge video on gut health in there, among many other things. And then in the insight tab, we have all our trusted partners. We have all of our supplement guides in there, all our smoothie guides. And if you have a question on any of these things I listed, please just reach out and ask me. I'm happy to help because I've lived through this, you guys, probably in one of the worst ways possible. And what I'm sharing with you here in terms of the shit, like not, no pun intended, the shit I've had to deal with in terms of just intestinal, ulcers and gut health. And I'm sharing like 20% of all the shit. And maybe one day I'll share the whole gamut of everything if that's something people really want to hear. But I know how miserable it can be. And a lot of it, this is my belief, and sometimes these things are unavoidable and genetics happens and bad luck strikes you. But most things that we deal with in life, and I do believe with your physical body, can be fixed, cured, or reduced by how we eat, what we drink, how we sleep, how we train, and how we live our life. I really do. And I easily could be a different person if I wasn't lucky enough to just be relentless in my pursuit to find out what was wrong and live in this era of time where we have these resources and amazing people who are doing work to help all of us. So take that for it is, you guys. If you guys want to check out the Jeremy Scott Fitness app, the first month is $1, jeremyscottfitness.app. It's on there. Doing an awesome transformation right after the 4th of July, I believe July 11th, that kicks off. I want all of you guys in there. We're giving away awesome shit. It'll be fun, dude. We'll rip your face off. We'll make you more mobile. And we'll just help you have an awesome, summer. And then all my weekly workouts are in there. There's so many videos already. I'm going to pour my heart and soul into it, so I want to see as many of you guys in there. Tell your friends, have them come in too. It'll be great. It's affordable. It's cheap. I'm trying to really do, help people as much as I can. I'm in a unique position where I can do that. And so if we can give you a lot for a little, I'm going to keep trying to do that, as long as I can, I guess. And then if you guys want a free sample of Athletic Greens, hit me up. I'll send you one if you want to sample the Beam Dream product, cool. If you guys want to check out J-Lab stuff or Kettle and Fire or Sleeve Sold separately or Dry Farms wines, links are in the show notes. You can get them there or hit me up and I'll give you the discounts as well. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Check Instagram for all of the updates on this if you want the specific foods and items we use. If you're on Apple Podcast, stop. Don't be a lazy ass. Drop us a 5-star. Leave a comment. I'd appreciate it. Share this with a friend or family member who needs to know more about fiber and gut health and probiotics and prebiotics and overall digestion and function. And then if you're on Spotify, drop it a 5-star too. We'd appreciate it. And again, tag me on Instagram. I'm happy to reshare anything you guys throw out there. And if you need something, hit me up. Otherwise, I'll be back Friday. And I think I got a spicy one for you Friday that I might finally do a podcast on my 2008 Honda Accord that's sitting here in the parking lot and just how that bad boy has changed my life financially in a way that I never thought would be possible, and just some really specific lessons in finance and the power of compound interest and really understanding what you can do with money if you're willing to, live like nobody else for a little period of time, and then later on, as Dave Ramsey says, you're going to live like nobody else. And that's definitely the boat that I'm in, and it's worked for me. And that'd be one I'll be passionate about too, as weird as that sounds, but that's changed my life as well, and I think it'll help a lot of you guys. So that's coming, I believe, Friday if I can get all my ducks in a row. So thank you guys as always. I appreciate you. Thanks for the support. We wouldn't be doing these if you guys didn't keep listening and sharing them and buying all our shit. So it means a lot to me. It really does. So have a great rest of your Sunday or whenever you're listening to this. And until next time, eat well, train hard, be nice to people, and please, you guys, keep doing shit you love with people you enjoy because your life is too short not to. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.